Hey Killjoys! This is likely to be really short and really choppy because I'm not in a good mood and it's a long story. Alright, anyway, so today we're going to talk about how I became a fan of MCR and all my stuff like that. I became a fan when I was 9 years old. I was in elementary school in the 5th grade, and anyone who knows anyone in the 5th grade knows they're pretty immature. I'm mature for my age. I'd like to say I was mature for my age. Now I act like a 5-year-old. But, I was going through a lot of stuff, like, emotionally then, like, family issues and stuff. Not like, oh my god, my boyfriend left me, or anything like that, because, you know, I was in 5th grade. But my grandparents and I were not getting along. My mother had just gotten to be home, and I wasn't allowed to stay with her. It was a whole, like, law issue. And then I found MCR. I was babysitting. I know, babysitting as a 9-year-old. Sounds cool, right? I was babysitting for this little, small kid. I wasn't, like, home alone or anything, but my grandmother was outside, and I was watching Fuse, and this little kid was playing on the computer. We didn't have internet in the house. And I'm Not Okay came on. And they said, oh, this is the new video, just came out, blah, blah, blah. It was on, I think it was TRL at the time. And I remember just stopping right in the middle of my kitchen. And the kitchen was like this big square room, and there's a big table in the middle, and you couldn't really get anywhere unless you had to go around the table. And the TV was right here, and here's the table. So I'm walking towards the kid on the other side of the table, and all of a sudden the song comes on, and I remember stopping dead in my tracks and just watching. Like, it completely captivated me, and I identified with everything they were saying, and I loved it so much because I was getting bullied a lot. And I guess this was toward the beginning of my 5th grade year, and I was just captivated, and I loved it. I remember right after that, when I got to live with my mom, I was in like 6th grade then. I cut my hair like Frank in the video. I cut it really, really short and spiky in the back and long in the front, and I think I ended up putting pink in it or dyeing it purple or something. I was insane. And I got teased a lot. Kids used to like scream at me or whatever, and that was before I started sticking up for myself. And then why I became a fan of MCR, I think is the question. I hope so. Or why I like MCR so much, or something like that. I don't have it pulled up. I was watching the videos on the channel, and I'm not even here. My life is a mess right now. I have a feeling this is going to be another long video. Why I became a fan was I was so messed up, and I could just see that these guys were just as messed up as I was, and it was so comforting at the time that there was someone out there who had to be going through or went through the same things that I was going through right then. Like, I don't even think that I was conscious. I know that sounds dumb, but I would just clock out, and I do that all the time. I have a really bad problem with it. I just clock out. If something happens, then nothing even matters anymore. I'm just not there. How they helped me. After I found them or whatever, I got into the really bad, what I thought was my depression. And it's probably the lowest I'm ever going to be in my life. Or it has been so far. I thought I was really suicidal in like 7th grade or something, which is the dumbest age now looking back to be depressed. But I was much mentally further ahead than the people that I knew. But what happened was I was dating this kid, and I thought I was completely in love with him, and he cheated on me with my best friend. So not only had I lost my best friend, but I also lost who I thought was my everything, you know? So it sent me into this spiraling path, and it was horrible. And I already had tickets to see My Chem with the girl who was my best friend, and we ended up going to Project Revolution together anyway, because she already had a ticket, and it was about 4 hours away. We had the best time, and I couldn't believe that just this one thing that we had in common now made us the same again. Like, she didn't originally go for My Chem, but she went for Linkin Park. Her sister was a really big Linkin Park fan. And I remember when the banner dropped on that show, I fell on the ground crying, just sobbing, because I had loved them for so long, or what I thought was so long. And this kid next to me asked me if I was okay, if he needed to call someone, if someone needed to come get me. I was like, no, my mom's right there. I just need a minute. And I just cried for the longest time. Even in the videos that I recorded, I was so far away. Like, the stage was up here, really close, and then I was way back in the line, and the tickets were only $20, and we won them from a radio station. And it was just the coolest moment of my life. Alright, the things I have to say to my fandom. We have the best fandom. Some people hate it. Some people hate being considered part of the MC Army, but I love it. It's like my pride and joy. I've met my absolute best friend I've ever had in my life at an MCR show, and I've only been to 2. I was so caught up in the madness of the first one that I didn't meet anybody, and I was like 12 years old, 13 years old. I didn't know what I was doing. But when I went to Chicago in April this year, I met my best friend I've ever had in my life. I met the best people, and we're planning on seeing them again in September. It's my cat, if you can see him. I don't know if you can. And I remember being in line, and it was, oh my gosh, I waited in line for 6 hours because I wanted to be semi-close. And I go to a lot of shows. I'm really big into the music scene that we have here, and it's not very big. And we waited in line for 6 hours. It started raining, and this girl, I don't even know her name. I wish I did. I'm friends with her on Facebook. I don't know how I found her, but she handed out these cookies. There were these little cinnamon cookies, and they had little spider rings on them in the Killjoy colors. It was the cutest thing, and they were so good. And they made us move over in the line because we weren't supposed to really be back there. They were supposed to have the line somewhere else. And people were cutting, and it was madness for like 20 minutes. Everyone was so angry. And then someone opened their car doors to their car that they were sitting in instead of being in the rain, and started playing Revenge, the whole album. It was on shuffle or something on their iPod through their speakers, and everyone just got happy again. I don't know what it is about this fandom, but these boys just make us so happy that it's unreal. I don't understand how, even for me, and I'm fucking tearing up, even for me, anytime I'm upset, any album makes me feel better. Danger Days makes me drive fast. Revenge makes me drive fast too, but it makes me feel better because those are when I found them, you know? It's this little piece of my childhood I have left, and Bullets makes me realize that I'm okay. And Black Parade is my least favorite, but I listen to it every night when I go to sleep. So by the time I'm actually falling asleep, Famous Last Words comes on. And that is my favorite song from the entire album, hands down. I plan on getting the words, I am not afraid to keep on living, on me, tattooed one day. A long time from now, probably in like 2 or 3 years. But this fandom, we're all so special. And we all have this one thing that we have in common. But it makes us have this crazy bond. And I don't understand it. It's like magic. And I've always said, growing up, that Gerard was like my father figure. Because my dad wasn't around when I was growing up. And it's not his fault. I understand everything now. But then I didn't. So, Gerard was always like this man I looked up to, like as a father. And I don't know who I'd be if I didn't find My Chemical Romance. I don't know who I'd be friends with. I know for sure I wouldn't have my best friend in my life. And I don't know that I'd be here without My Chemical Romance, and I thank them for that all the time. I felt like an idiot at my show because I saw Ray come out backstage, and I didn't get to talk to him. I didn't get to say anything. But everyone started to disperse when he left and went back inside, and I just stood there and screamed thank you about 4 times, because that's all I knew what to do. I didn't know what else to do. I couldn't, like, go back there and hug him or anything, and it was through a fence. It was just the coolest thing. Everyone's just so nice in our fandom. And the people that aren't nice generally leave. They usually get the memo that we don't need any more negative in our lives every day. So, I'm glad I found them. And I love you all very dearly, even though I don't really know you all. But I hope that we become closer. I love you guys.